Gynocriticism is a term that has been contributed to English Studies and Critical Theory by Alan Showalter. And Showalter has not only given us a term, but this is also a concept which is different from traditional feminism by and large, insofar as it focuses mostly on writing by women, unlike traditional feminism, which also looks at misrepresentation of women in patriarchal literature and all that. In other words, borrowing from that famous quote on democracy or famous definition of democracy by Abraham Lincoln, we can say that gynocriticism is literature, or it deals with literature by women and of women, if not so much for women only. So it tries to develop a complete literary framework and critical framework of women's writing, and it deals not only with creative writings but uh, diaries, journals, autobiographies, all kinds of writings by women. In doing that, a further interesting thing that has developed is that many feminist critics, or we can say gynocritics, have also tried to revisit the main canon of English literature, not to reread the patriarchal or heteropatriarchal or male written texts, but also to add and expand the canon by raising or creating an entirely new canon of English literature. Let me give you an example. When we studied English literature in our BA and MA days, Afra Ben, for example, was almost unknown or next to unknown. Nobody spoke about her. But today she is a very important part of the even the mainstream canon. So this is also a result of this gynocritical kind of revision of the canon. Now, the famous books that are included in this are Patricia Mayer Speck's The Female Imagination, which was published in 1975, which deals with English and American novels of the past 300 years, and also the book written by Ellen Showalter herself, A Literature of Their Own, British Women Novelists from Bronte to Lessing. It was published in 1977. Though we have said that gynocriticism includes all kinds of writings, but you must have noticed that by and large, the focus of the majority of literary theorists or even some critical theorists are on the novel as a genre, because it is, as Jörg Lukács said, the novel is the epic of the modern world. It has so much of range and scope and depth that uh, can hardly be found in any other genre. So mostly they concentrate on the novel, along with the female imagination and all literature of their own by Patricia Spacks and Schwalter herself, respectively. Another very important book is, you must have heard that name, Sandra Gilbert and Susan Gerber's The Mad Woman in the Attic, originally published in 1979, just 2 years after Schwalter's book, and then it had a revised edition in the year 2000. The book also spoke about the psychological aspects of women writers in the 19th century. For example, why was it so that, you know, a female writer had to adopt a male name like George Eliot? George Eliot, you must know that it's a male name adopted by a female writer. Or, for example, Bronte's Jane Eyre, we have the figure of that mad woman in the attic. So, this is Bertha Rochester, the Creole or kind of colonial wife of the hero of the novel. Anyway, so these figures actually, according to them, serve as the author's double because it represents their own sense of anxiety. Now, what is that anxiety? Anxiety is to create a new identity, to create a new space for themselves by contesting the already male or patriarchal or heteropatriarchal domain of writing. So this creates anxiety. The idea, of course, is borrowed from Harold Bloom's anxiety of influence. So this is basically gynocriticism. You can also relate it to womanism, which is of course different. Which is of course both gynocriticism and womanism are in certain ways offshoots of feminism, but they are different from feminism, the mainstream feminism, on several counts, and I think I have made them pretty explicit in this video and on the one on womanism. Also, follow the lecture that I have uploaded on post feminism. Thank you.